Welcome everybody. Today we will learn about TOEIC reading test. Previously we have learned about TOEIC listening. In that part we have 100 questions presented in the paper. Similar with the listening test, in the reading we will also have 100 questions presented in the test in only 75 minutes. In the TOEIC reading test, we will have 3 parts. The first one would be incomplete sentence. The second one, we will be dealing with error recognition and text completion. The last part, or the third one, would be dealing with reading comprehension. So let's go to the first part, that is incomplete sentence.
So welcome to the TOEIC reading test, everybody. Last week we have learned about the listening section of the TOEIC test. In that case, we have several parts in the listening section presented by Bu Atiqah. So today we will learn about the TOEIC test, especially for the reading parts, with me, Faiz, as your lecturer. So what is the objective of the TOEIC reading test? TOEIC reading test is meant to measure the ability to understand written English for communication in the global workspace and everyday life. Pay attention that TOEIC is different with the IELTS or even TOEFL. TOEFL and IELTS deal with the academic life or academic background. So that is why the objective of the TOEFL and IELTS are to apply for a scholarship. Meanwhile, for the TOEIC itself, it deals with the global workplace and the everyday life. So pay attention on the TOEIC reading test. In the TOEIC reading test, we have 100 questions presented in the test in only 75 minutes. So each question would be no longer than a minute. It is only 75 minutes. The next one are the parts of the reading test itself. The first part is the incomplete sentence. In this case, we will talk about grammar such as adverbs and then suffix and then conditional sentences and others. It will be presented in 30 questions. The next one would be text completion. In this case, we will deal with the text, especially in the tenses, 16 tenses of English, and then vocabulary, and then other parts related to the text completion. It will be presented in only 16 questions. And then the last one would be reading comprehensions, 54 questions. In this case, it will be split into two. The first one would be single passage questions, such as emails, letters, and others. And then the next one would be multiple passage questions, just like notice, announcement, and then poster, etc. So the next one would be the learning objective of the TOEIC reading test in the first part. In this case, we will talk about the incomplete sentences. So basically, we will talk about grammar and syntax, and then vocabulary, word, phrase, sentences, and the context. And then the last one would be the connecting words, such as but, also, and then first, second, and others. So let's check it out on the first part of the reading test in incomplete sentences. So the first one would be the adverb of the frequency. As we know that in adverb frequency, you have learned about many stuff in adverbs, such as every day, twice a week, once a month, and etc. So take a look on the placement of the definite frequency of adverb. So you cannot put it on the middle of the sentences. It should be at the end or at the beginning of the sentences for the definite frequency. So you cannot put it in the middle of the sentences. Okay, go on. The next one would be the meanings of the various adverbs. Now, in this case, here are the list of the wrong and the correct sentences. The first one would be, there is yet time to correct that error. This is wrong. Why? Because the meaning of this word is different with still. If it is translated into Indonesia, the result would be belum ada waktu untuk mengoreksi error tersebut. Meanwhile, in the correct version, there is still time to correct that error. If we translate it into Indonesia, it would be masih ada waktu untuk mengoreksi error tersebut. Nah, in that case, the result would be still, not yet, everybody. So pay attention on the meanings of the various adverbs. Not only you should pay attention on the placement of the adverbs, it should be at the end of or at the beginning of the sentences. You should also see the meanings of the adverb itself. Try to look at your dictionary. The next one would be the indefinite frequency. For example, always, rarely, seldom, never, and others. Always is selalu in Indonesia, and then rarely would be jarang, and then seldom is also jarang, and then the last one would be never. Never is tidak pernah. Now this is different with the previous one. In every day, everyone's in a week or every month, it should be repetitively, but in this case, cannot be measured how many times it would be done in single sentences. So here are the placement of the indefinite frequency. It is always come after the verb be or auxiliaries. So you cannot put it before the auxiliary itself. So it should be put after the auxiliaries. So the correct one would be, he is usually very early. Got it? Okay, let's go on to the next one. For the indefinite frequency, it always precedes all other verbs. So every time you have known about the verb, you cannot put it after the verb just like this one. It should be before the verb. So the flight always leaves on time, not the flight leaves always on time. So pay attention. The first one on auxiliaries, it should be before, but if it deals with the verbal sentences, it should be before the verb. After the auxiliaries, before the verb. And then the next one are the exception of the indefinite frequency. So here are the list of the adverbs that could be put at the end of the sentence or at the beginning of the sentence. Frequently, generally, occasionally, often, and sometimes, and usually. Now, you can put it on the beginning of the sentence or at the end of the sentence, but you cannot put always at the first part of the sentence. Always should be before the verb or after the auxiliaries. Meanwhile, for these list of words, it could be put at the beginning or at the end. Okay, got it, everyone? If you understand, let's move on to the next part. So here are the practice tests of our adverb of frequency. Just pause this video for 10 seconds and then answer the questions. Okay, got it? Have you done all the works? Okay, let's check it out for the answers. So here are the keywords. Are you answering all in a correct way? Okay, some would be correct, some would be having the wrong answers. Okay, take a look on the first questions over here. So I will just translate it, since this is the list of the different meaning of the adverb. So here are the results of the translated version. So you should change sudah as your answer, since Mr. Arrow is already an accountant. So it could not be changed into pernah or belum or sering. Nah, the second one would be Tom blah 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 in his calculation. Pay attention that it should be followed after, yeah, after the auxiliaries. The auxiliary itself is has. So A is wrong, yeah. Nah, after has, it should be the adverb. So has seldom or has seldomly. So B is wrong. So the third one would be has seldom earth or has seldomly earth. Which one is your answer? If you answer C, then that is wrong, because it should be in the form of the adverb itself. Has seldomly earned. Okay, got it? The third one would be production levels has blah 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 been this high before. Now, this is also the list of the words that has different meanings, so I will just translate it in Indonesia. Nah, so take a look at the context of the sentences. Production level has blah 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 been this high before. Before over here means sebelumnya. Berarti sebelumnya tidak pernah setinggi ini. Nah, pay attention. So the answer should be never. Ya, production level, level produksi tersebut tidak pernah setinggi ini sebelumnya. So if we translate Indonesia, it could be changed into like that one. So the next one would be the incomplete sentences for the conjunctions. Conjunctions are the connectors in each sentences, such as this one. Coordinate conjunctions and not only and but also. So link several ideas that have the similar meaning. The second one would be opposite or contradictory ideas, but tetapi kalau yang ini tadi and atau dan, or not only but also, tidak hanya bla 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 tapi juga. And then the third one would be choices, either or neither nor. So here are the examples. This is the wrong version. It is efficient or maintenance free. Since it is already positive, efficient is positive and maintenance free is also positive, we can check it into using and, not using but, because this is positive and this is one is also positive. Yeah, efficient is positive and maintenance is also positive, maintenance free. What about if it has a different or contradictory ideas? It should be changed into but. For instance, it is efficient, but it costs high in maintenance. That is, you should change it into but, not and. The next one would be this one. So these are the wrong part. We can take either a morning flight but an early afternoon flight. In this case, pay attention that if it is choices, it should be dealing with these options. Either should be getting or. So you cannot put either and but over here, but should be either or neither nor. You can choose one of them, everybody. That is for the coordinate conjunctions. The second one would be the subordinate conjunction. So it shows the different relationship between two clauses. So if it deals with the cause and effect, you should use because, karena, so, jadi, since, mengingat, as, and then the next one would be time. In this case, you should use when, while, after, before, until, and although. The last one would be as soon as. You can just guess the meaning or find the meaning on the dictionary. And then the next one would be if or unless. If it shows the condition, jika. The last one would be the contradictory itself, even though, meskipun. Although is also similar, the meaning is also meskipun. So here are the examples of the conjunctions for the subordinate conjunctions. So you cannot choose this one. The machine shut off even though the power went off. If we translate in Indonesia, jadi mesinnya itu mati meskipun listriknya juga mati. That is wrong, everybody. You should change it into when. If you choose it using when, it should be easier for you to translate the following sentences. For example, the machine shut off when the power went off. So, mesinnya akan mati ketika listriknya juga mati. Nah, that is more relevant than the previous one. The next one would be this one. If it deals with the cause and effect, I couldn't call them until I don't know their phone number. Nah, this is also not relevant. Try to use the following sentences for the subordinate conjunctions. I couldn't call them because I don't know their phone number. Jadi saya tidak bisa menelpon mereka karena saya tidak tahu nomor telepon mereka. So this is relevant. Try to have the meaning of each conjunctions over here. Pay attention that each conjunction would be having different meanings from one to another. So let's check it out on our practice test. Try to pause the video for 10 seconds and then answer the following questions. Okay, got it? Have you done your work? Okay, let's check our keyword today. So here are the keywords. The answer for the number one is C. Because. Why? Because it relates to the previous one. It relates to the cause and effect. Take a look on the questions over here. Blah, blah, blah. She possesses such business acumen. She was able to regain the control of the company. Now, possesses such business acumen. This is positive, everybody. So, this is the cause. Yeah. And then the next one would be the effect. Karena dia sangat kerja dengan keras, so she was able to regain the control of the company. Jadi dia bisa mengambil posisinya kembali. So here are the list of the answers. Meskipun, karena, dan untuk. So the best choice of the number one is number C. Meanwhile, for the number two, for a more effective ads, we need both a new product, blah blah blah, a new director. Nah, both should be using and. Why? Because this is the most relevant one. Keduanya both, berarti yang pertama itu harusnya apa? And then it should be linked with and. Done, and then what is the answer? A new product and a new director. Now you cannot choose or either, since these are different meanings. And then the third one would be the prepositions. So prepositions are often used idiomatically and often ignore rules. Therefore, their use must be memorized. So you cannot just guess the options, everybody. You should memorize the preposition itself. Take a look at over here. At is used for a specific time. So at 8 a.m. Yeah. If you are using time, it is always followed by at. Next one. On is used for a specific day. On Friday. Always for a day. Then the third one would be in. In is used for a specific city. In Jakarta. Okay, try to memorize this one. And then the last one would be date, using on. Nah, date or month should be using on, yeah, on May 5th. Okay, try to pause the video for 10 seconds and answer the questions. Ready? So here are the results. The first one would be A or from, because it compares from one to another, blah blah blah. All applicants, Miss May has the most experience. So it is comparison between Miss May and other applicants, just like this one. So the result would be dari or from. Yeah. And then the second one would be, nah, it is followed by days, so the result would be on. I'll take a look on the previous one. On is used for a specific day, Monday. That's it for the third preposition. The next one would be the verbs or the translation verbs. So what is a translation verb? Actually, translation words are used to join two or more independent clauses or sentences. For example, here are the translation words. For example, therefore, thus, so accordingly, hence, and consequently. So you should also remember the meaning. It should be oleh karena itu. And then the second one would be the contradictory, meaning that it should be however and nevertheless. It is using meskipun, however. And then the third one would be the idea of a main clause. For example, also in addition, moreover, and furthermore. It could be translated into di samping itu or sebagai tambahan. Yeah. If it is using cause and effect, you should be using this one. Then contradictory would be using this one. Then idea of a main clause, try to use this one. Okay, let's go on to the practice test. Try to pause this one as usual in 10 seconds. Okay, have you finished finishing the task, everybody? Okay, so here are the keywords. The first one, cable TV revolutionized communications, blah blah blah. The very existence of that service is now threatened by satellites. So this is uh, another additional of main clause. So here I will just give you the translated versions. So cable TV revolutionized communications. Ya, TV kabel sudah merevolusi komunikasi, bla bla bla. The very existence of that service, jadi eksistensi dari TV kabel sendiri is now threatened by satellites. Sekarang di bawah, it can be translated as a berbahaya karena ada satelit sekarang. Nah, the answer should be nevertheless. So this is similar with this one. Yeah. He would have been a good representative, however, he does not speak their language. So this is a plus one, and then the second one with the negative. So if you choose that kind of, if you find this kind of sentences, it should be using nevertheless. Number two, it would be dealing with hospitals are competing for a shrinking market share, blah blah blah. They are attempting to discover the most cost-effective and highest quality share. So in this case, you should find it using therefore, because it deals with the cause and effect, just like this one. Oleh karena itu, rumah sakit sedang berupaya untuk berkompetisi pada market share yang atau pasar yang semakin sedikit. Oleh karena itu atau maka mereka mencoba untuk mencari cara untuk yang paling efektif dan kualitas yang paling tinggi. And then the next one would be verbs or causative. So causative verbs show that someone or something made a certain action happen. So if it is followed by make, have, and let, so it should be simple base form of a verb. Have, had over here are the second form of have. Yeah, similar with this one. Make, second version of make would be made, and let and let. So you cannot put it as just like this one. He had the secretary sign for the package, but it should be he had the secretary sign the passage. Then the second one would be get, won, order, and cost. If it is followed by the following words of everybody, you should add to before the verb. Yeah, he ordered anyone to leave the room. You cannot just use leave over here. Got it? Again, the third one would be this one. So every causative verb, it will receive an action. It should use past participle form. For example, we will want the invoices will be returned at once. But you cannot write it down as a double will just like this one. You can just omit the will be and change it into just past participle. We will want the invoices returned at once. So this is for the causative. Next one would be on the practice text for the verbs in causative. Let's continue. As always, pause the video for 10 seconds and answer the questions. Okay, done everybody? So here are the keywords. Are you guessing them right? Okay, let's go to the explanation. For number one, pay attention that we have the word let over here. So if we have let, made, and others, we should choose to just work. Take a look on the previous explanation. Nah, make, have, and let, it's only simple base form of a verb. So we can just choose work over here. And then the next one would be made. This is the keywords for the answer. Similar with let, so the answer would be C. It would be A, I mean A. And then the next one on the firm wants its product, wants blah blah blah, its product safely. Pay attention on the previous explanation on the word one over here, so we have to add to before the verb. So here are the answers. C. Okay, got it everybody? Okay, so let's move on to the next section, guys. So the next section is on the conditional sentences. Without further explanation, I will just give you the formula. So here are the formula. So if you find if and then verb 1, so the next part would be will and verb 1. Situation stays too long, this is present tense, or you use verb 1 over here, so you should use will and verb 1, just like this, will and need. Meanwhile, for the type 2, here are the formulas. If and then verb 2, and then the next sentence or the next dependent clause would be would and verb 1. Verb 2 over here, and then you should get would and get. The next part on the type 3, we can find it using had and verb 3, or just like past perfect tense, had found and would have sent. Would have and verb 3. This is the third form of the send. Okay, let's jump to the next practice test. I will try to pause the video for 10 seconds and then answer the questions. Okay, finish, guys. Take a look on the first one. Okay, in this case, the sentence use verb 1. Yeah, so if they use verb 1, so the next thing would be okay, good. So if they use verb 1 in the first dependent clause, the next clause should be using will and verb 1. So the answer would be B, or will underestimate. The next one, For the number 2, if you cannot find it on the first dependent clause, take a look on the next clause. It use would have been. So it use would and then have and then the verb 3 of be. So the answer would be, yeah, D, had gone. So here are the explanation. We can find would have been over here, just like this one. And then look at the previous one, it should use had and verb 3. So the answer would be D. Easy, right? Okay, next explanation on the incomplete sentences. On number 7, it would be verbs, two-word combination. So basically, two-word combination are the combination of words that is understandable by themselves. It has different meaning when combined. So here are the examples. For example, turn means rotate, and then down it goes from the higher position into the lower position. But if you combine it into turn down, it means reject or lower the volume. You can choose one of them. For instance, I turn down the offer. So it means that you are rejecting the offer. Meanwhile, the next one would be this. Remember that each two word can have its own meaning. So try to take a look at your dictionary before answering the next practice test. Here are the practice tests for the incomplete sentences. As usual, try to pause the video for 10 seconds and answer the questions. Okay, finish guys. Let's check the answers. Are you guessing them right? Number 1, the answer would be B. Why is it so? Because the list of the options over here has different meanings. Here are the meanings. If you cannot blah 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 on the phone, try sending an email or WhatsApp. So the answer would be B. If you cannot uh, mengangkat or calling, what is it? Calling your friend's phone. Number 2, during tough negotiations, neither side wants to. Tough negotiations meaning in Indonesia is that negosiasi yang cukup rumit. Neither side wants to. It should be menyerah. So here are the list of the options. Okay, pay attention that you should really check the answers through dictionary. And then the last one would be word families. So here are the addition of each word families. For instance, dominant to dominance, vacant to vacancy. So it changed the whole meaning. For instance, vacant itu harusnya kosong, but if it goes to vacancy, it means lowongan. Free into bebas, and then we can add this one into dem. It means freedom or kebebasan. Here are just the addition of the suffix. Try to understand it by yourself since it has its own meanings. I cannot explain it one by one since it will really take a long time to teach you for this one. Let's go on to the next practice test for the last incomplete sentence part. I will give you 10 seconds to do the test. So here are the keywords, everybody. So number 1, she exercised a blah 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 influence on the verb. So if we just pay attention to this one, it needs an adjective, right? So the adjective of the following options is dominant, meaning that dia berlatih blah 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 influence on the verb, or dia mempengaruhi bla 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 pada perusahaan ini. It can also be used into the option would be dominant atau mendominasi atau berpengaruh kuat pada perusahaan ini. And then the next keyword would be number 2. The recommendation was blah 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 to the success of the project. This is already clear. If it is followed by the auxiliary, just like this one, it should be using adjective. So the following option, that is adjective, is the critical itself. So I guess that's it for the first part of the reading test. Everybody try to check your LMS or your Google form for the practice, and then I will see you again next week. Thank you.
Thank you for watching this video. Next week, we will learn about the second part of the TOEIC reading test, error recognition and text completion. See you again next week.